Welcome back to ALEC TV. I'm Tom McLaughlin coming to you from the States and Nation Policy Summit in Scottsdale, Arizona, and this is the second half of a twofer for West Virginia lawmakers. I'm here with Senator Patricia Rucker from the West Virginia Senate. How you doing today?
Doing great, thank you.
Well, thanks for being here. So, actually, I'm really looking forward to talking to you because I've heard all about this education bill that you had passed this year in the Senate.
Yes, this year was the West Virginia legislature decided to focus on K-12 education. And we have tried in the past multiple times to pass some education reform and has failed every single time because of teacher associations. So this year, I can tell you, we're determined to get something done. And especially in the Senate, we said, we've given the teachers a raise. We gave them a historic pay raise last year. We wanted to give them another pay raise again this year, but we wanted a little bit of reform in return for that investment in public education. And the type of things that we were looking for a little school choice, let West Virginia be the 47th state to have charters, public charters.
Right.
Also looking at ESAs to help those who cannot afford getting the education that the child needs, and the public education not being the one that's helping their child, giving them a choice. So our ESA was focused on special needs, victims of bullying, and those minority low-income families. Kind of typical things that a lot of states have done.
Sounds very reasonable to me.
I would think so. In addition to that, there were many asks that teachers and administrators have been asking us for years. And some of them are a little controversial in West Virginia. West Virginia is a centralized education system,
right, where
the state Board of Education pretty much dictates how things go. We wanted to give some more local control. And I know this sounds really radical,
right, I know.
Considering 48 out of the 50 states have education run locally. We just wanted to kind of bring that into West Virginia. So that also was part of this education reform we were looking for.
So when you did this all seems like it's pretty, down the middle, and that really has the best interest of everyone at heart. You encountered some resistance on this.
Oh yeah, just a little bit. Some of it was, typical, teacher associations, fear-mongering, saying we're taking money away from public schools, saying that this was an ALEC bill, which is really, really funny. They kept looking for the model bill from ALEC that I was copying, which didn't exist.
Look at that.
Didn't come from ALEC. What a crazy concept. It came from what I thought as West Virginia's future. We need to look at what works best. And you know what? Other states have adopted this. Why can't West Virginia? So that's really where the ideas came from. The resistance, unfortunately, they were complaining and attacking us, and we expected it. We still passed it out of the Senate. Unfortunately, when the House was going to take it up, there were House members that were very nervous about the teachers and about the protests and everything. Right. And the teachers decided to strike. And when they went on strike, the very next day the House tabled the bill indefinitely. Right. So that was very disappointing. So at that point, okay, they got what they wanted. They killed the attempt to have education reform. Well, then the House passed the teacher pay raise by itself and sent it over to the Senate. And the Senate was not interested in passing a teacher pay raise without any education reform. So we just said, sorry, we want education reform with a pay raise, not by itself. So when the end of the session was coming and the deadline was, getting to that point, the governor was desperate. He truly wanted to fulfill his promise of giving the teachers another pay raise. Mm-hmm. And therefore, he came and talked to us, and we said, we want education reform. So he chose to have a special session to discuss education reform, and we saved the money for the teachers' raises from the budget so that if we got education reform, we could give the teachers their pay raises. And we had a special session. I don't want to tell you how long it lasted. It was many weeks. But at the end of it, we finally got an education reform bill that we could live with.
That's the first education reform bill in a while there.
In West Virginia, yes, for sure. It's the first time for West Virginia to have charters, first time to give a little bit of school choice, right, and also some local control.
Great. So for you then, What's so important about getting that K-12 bill passed? What's so important about education reform in West Virginia for you?
So, education to me is the pathway towards giving everybody an opportunity at the American dream. So we like to talk about the American dream, we like to talk about the, great American experiment, but really it was an educated populace that made all of that possible. And our founding fathers knew that. They knew when they gave us the freedom that we have, that it came with public responsibility, and that an educated populace was the best guarantor of that freedom. Well, I am a living embodiment of that freedom, I will tell you. I'm a first-generation immigrant to the United States. I had an excellent public education, and here I am now representing my state in the legislature. You couldn't do that in other countries. I mean, it is truly a remarkable story that I'm very proud of and grateful for. So I want everyone to have that same story. Whatever it is that's going to lead to their success, I want them to have that. But that education is crucial. If you don't have a good education, you don't have any choice. You really are doomed. And so to me, education I'm very passionate about. And in West Virginia, we've done it this way in terms of no choice, complete and total control from the state, letting the teachers associations kill any attempt at real innovation. And where has that gotten us? We're ranked some of the last in education for the entire country, even though we fund education at a higher level than most states. I don't know if you know that. Like,
I didn't know that.
Per pupil spending, we're like 16th.
Really?
So one of the smallest states in the United States and poorest, and we are 16th in our funding for education. And we're ranked 48th or 49th, depending on which poll you look at.
Well, hopefully with the new bill, we start to see some change there, and that's really awesome. Congratulations on winning that fight. That couldn't have been easy. And now you get to take it to the higher ed. Is it true you get to take the higher ed next year?
Absolutely. That's my goal for the next session. Well, at issue is just, again, trying to make certain that we provide the best use for the taxpayer money.
Right.
And we get what we want. And we want better outcomes. That's what we're looking at.
Awesome. Well, Senator Rucker, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for a great discussion. I really enjoyed hearing about it.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.